You remember, you were up north, but Credella Hudson took appendicitis, and and they thought, of course, then they didn't know what to do, and they proposed it with linseed. Old Dr. Adams, I don't know why he'd do this, but, and of course heat was the wrong thing. If they'd been used to ice, it would have helped, maybe.
Yes.
And finally, they decided they better take her to Kingston. So, they loaded her up to take her to Kingston. I think Aunt Annie went with Mrs. Hudson that time to Kingston. But they didn't know how they were going to keep her from freezing, you know. So they built kind of a shelter on the sleigh, and they put Uncle Tom's fur coat on Credella. Well, that fur coat could write quite a history, Alvie. And they put it on her, and they went to Calabogie, and they got her to Kingston, out on the OK and B. When they got to Kingston, her appendix was ruptured. After all that, and yet without penicillin, they operated and pulled her through.
This was Cordella, she was a nurse.
Yeah.
She was a nurse.
Not then. No.
She was just younger.
Just a kid in high school then. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, she was going to the Alvie High School when that happened.
Do you remember James or Jim Carswell, Mom's
No,
father?
he was dead before I was born, or about the time I was born.
I never knew him, but any more than to see him.
No.
For I was only young. The day that he died, we were fishing down at the river. Dad and the three of us boys.
Yeah.
And George Briscoe and Mel Briscoe.
Oh, yes.
And down at the Malone Courts. And on the way home, they told us that Jim noticed that Jim Carswell was dead.
Yeah.
You had blood poisoning or something.
Well, he got bit.
Yes, some kind of something had bit him that started it.
Yeah.
And if they could have got the treatment for him, he could have been all right.
He walked up to Denby to see the doctor.
Yes, he went to Denby, and the doctor was away.
Oh, yeah.
He came back home, and the next day he died. He was dead.
Well, a walk to Denby wouldn't do him any good.
Well, he went with the horses.
Yeah.
But the next day...
He died. He died very quickly, you know.
Well, she died quite a bit after.
Oh, I remember her well.
Do you? Yeah.
Oh, yes, I remember her.
Well, she died in 1928.
Uh-huh.
And then Edna and I were married in that
summer.
Yes. She died in, January or February?
January, it was in the winter. I know it was right in the dead of the winter. It was awful weather when she died in the winter time. And they took her down to the Renfrew, to Calabogie, took her out on the train to Kingston, but they couldn't do anything for her.
What was the problem?
Well, eventually she went to mental illness, but it wasn't any mental illness. It was caused from a goiter. She, for years and years, it had a horrible, horrible goiter, and it should have been removed. And they said the poison from the goiter went through her system. It must have ruptured on the inside because she took it sick so suddenly. You remember how you were up north?
Yes, I was up north.
Yeah, I know that Harold came up to the store and told Mother and Dad. He said that she was crying in the room, crying or something. And Mother and Mrs. McLaren went down with him. He had the team. I think Mother went, but I know Miss McLaren, they always went Francaire. And they went down. But when they got down there, she didn't even know them. Well, then, I guess maybe Dad called over. I'm sure he did, because your mother and father went over with the horse and rig right away. And they got the doctor. They got Dr. Flynn up from Calabogie, because they felt maybe he'd have a little more knowledge about it than Adams. And he tried to treat her to see if it could be treatable, but she went to, they took her down then to Calabogie, and your dad took her with the team.
Yes.
And your mother went with her, I think.
Yeah, and Dad and Edna then went to Kingston.
That's right, on the train with her.
Yes.
How long was she in Calabogie?
just overnight, just went down and got the train. He took the horses, went down and stabled them there at Paddy Moran's, and they took the train out to Gallop to Kingston.
And she died there?
And she died in Kingston, but she wasn't in Kingston very long.
No.
So it all came from that guy. Oh my, that should have been tended to.
She had it quite a while?
Oh, she'd all had it, and she'd suffered with that, terrible, you know. It was a type that must have been leaking or something, you know. It wasn't so much of it visible, it didn't look, you know, so terrible on the outside.
No.
But I guess it was an inward goiter she
Yes.
had, you know. And oh
Yes,
my.
and you never noticed anything on the outside at all.
Well, an odd time,
You know,
you should see a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't remember of any.
No, not like Pete Kelly. Oh no, 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 no,
No,
no.
there was nothing.
No, nothing like that. But I remember her coming up to the store one time. Some doctor was there, and I remember that she throwed her head up, and you could see back for him to look at it, and it was there. Not big now, mind you, but
No.
there was a bit of it you couldn't just notice. But that's what happened to her, was this goiter.
And she lived on there on the farm after?
Yeah, with Harold and Ralph and
Yeah.
Edna, when Edna talked down it.
And she was a very fine woman.
Oh, she was a fine lady. She worked awfully hard. And the poor soul had bad luck.
Yes.
You know, she seemed to be unfortunate. And of course, old Alec wasn't too good to her neither.
No.
Alec McPherson?
Yeah, her brother. He was her brother, and he should have used her better, but he didn't. Miserable old skunk. But, oh yeah, she was a fine woman, but she was, as I said, she had an awful pile of bad luck.
In what sense?
Well, her cattle would die, and her turkeys, she had trouble raising her turkeys. Of course, she didn't have that much feed to feed them, and no money to buy feed with, I suppose, you know. Of course, she'd much better when your mother got teaching school. That made a wonderful improvement for her.
Well, yes, there was 5 years there that she was.
She was in good shape.
There was something coming in.
That's right, Alvie, there was. And she was fine when Edna started teaching school. She was in good shape then. And Edna sure helped her out wonderful, wonderful. Well, I don't know what Harold and Ralph would have done only for the years Edna taught school. No, I really don't. Oh no, she was much, much better. I mean, you know, she'd see her out to church and everything. She'd be dressed up nicely, you know, and everything then after. And they had things they could.
She was a religious, well, went to church by...
Oh yes, she was a faithful churchgoer.
Was she musically inclined?
No, I don't think so. If she was, I don't know it. It seemed to me the younger ones. I don't think she was.
All by yourself, or then?
She had the organ there,
That's right.
and that is the.
Yeah, is that the old McPherson organ she had there?
And Edna took it to shop.
Yes, I remember.
Brought it back, and
Good, I'm glad
It's in
you
my
got
family room right now.
good.
It's pretty, I don't know where it originated from. Do you know
So
anything
where
about
are you
it?
staying, in Judy's place or in your own place?
I don't know,
You must have a real house.
but that must be a real.
Oh,
That's a very, very, very old organ. We've got one in here in the parlor. And your grandfather brought it up from Levant on a stone boat with a team of oxen.